Welcome to 25 Days of Empowerment. This is day 1, April 1st. I love that. Goes together.
Yep.
And these are our 25 days where we're activating our self-love and resiliency and empowering our genius and claiming our natural prosperity. I'm Emiliana Patrick. I am a breathwork facilitator, an astrologer. You can find me at thepatrickpearl.com, and you can book an acupuncture appointment with me at the Daoist Traditions Student Clinic on South French Broad if you're in Asheville, North Carolina.
And I'm Tiffany. I'm a self-love and feminine empowerment coach, and I empower all bodies. We all have masculine and feminine within us. And you can find me on Instagram at tigerlily.and.co. That is my coaching brand. And I'm so excited to begin this journey. Emiliana is going to explain what's happening astrologically, and I'm going to be offering you self-care tips to help you move through this with grace and power.
All right. So today is the first day of Mercury retrograde. And I thought it would be a great time to share what the heck is Mercury retrograde actually. So first of all, Mercury does not actually go backwards. That is an appearance from Earth, and that's really important. If we were on another planet or in a different position, maybe we would not even have Mercury retrograde. So this is an event that impacts us on Earth, that where Mercury appears to be going backward from the sky. The current Mercury cycle began on December 22nd, and it goes until April, I think it's the 8th, April 11th. Okay. So this is the cycle we're in. And here is April 1st. April 1. So Mercury went direct on January 1. So notice something. A new cycle begins always right in the middle of Mercury retrograde. Right in the middle of it. We always plant seeds of cycles in darkness. Always. So this time from January 1st-ish to April 1st, Mercury is direct. There's Mercury zooming, right? You plant the seeds. Where am I going mentally? What do I want to come into my life? What new avenues do I want to explore? Where do I want to visit? All of that is decided in the retrograde time. And then January 1st comes and it's like, time to go, time to go, time to move. Da, 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 da. And Mercury rules our day-to-day life, the speed of it. So day-to-day, we're in our logical minds, and Mercury is going, okay, I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to this. I'm going to, here's where my energy is going to go, right? And then Mercury begins to slow down before the retrograde period. And today, April 1st, it finally says, okay,
Okay,
you've gone and done.
sense, Emiliana. So I do not have a background in astrology, so I'm learning all of these techniques right with you. It has been a fast year so far. There's been a lot of movement. So you're telling me that things are about to slow down?
Yes.
I need that. Okay, continue.
Exactly. But here's the thing. Normally, as Mercury starts to slow down the week before, and we've all felt that too, right? We just kind of feel that it's time to slow down.
Is that what they call the pre-shadow phase of Mercury retrograde?
It's called the storm.
Oh,
It's called Mercury enters its storm. Mercury, in other words, is beginning the slowdown process.
okay. So
And
he or she or they is hitting the brakes on that rotation. And so that's what we feel right before the retrograde.
exactly.
Okay.
And usually at that point, there's a, but I don't want to slow down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, everything's moving, right? We expect, a part of us is expecting that momentum to continue.
It's inertia. We're
Yeah.
feeling the inertia.
And what's happening actually is like, wait a minute. I just did all this stuff over the last 3 months. This is from April 1 to April 11th there are 3 parts of a retrograde, a Mercury retrograde. The first part is the review. And this is, by the way, not the part of the retrograde that gives it a bad name. This is usually the part where you feel like you can rest more deeply than normal. And you just feel like, okay, I am slowing down and it's time to review everything that happened since December 22nd. Because how can you plant seeds for the new cycle if you haven't made an assessment?
So it's like a farmer assessing the crops and seeing what did well, what did not do well. It's not a personal thing, I would say. It's just a very factual, where am I now compared to where I was in December?
That's exactly right. The
Okay.
other piece of this I just have to mention
Mhm.
is there's a part of our minds that is not usually active.
Mm,
But if we're aware of it, we can really allow more. This is the what I call the dream time. This is that period in between like right when you're waking up in the morning, right before you go to bed at night. A different part of our minds are active, and it's active the entire retrograde.
wow.
And so the idea here is also we get messages. If we can slow down enough, we get messages that we may not even want to receive sometimes, especially during an eclipse season, when that which is hidden is coming to light.
Hmm.
But the idea is to create more space to allow and how do you know it's happening? You daydream. Pay attention to those.
Pay
You
attention.
dream more. Pay attention to those. Um, Someone says something and it triggers something from your past, nostalgia, memories,
Mhm.
strong. This is the time when this whole part of our mind that is normally very active when we're asleep.
Mhm.
By the way, it's also if you work with archetypes, it is the time when the archetypes are the strongest. You can do archetype work. You can do like like some people like to go journeying. This is a fabulous time for journeying of all kinds.
Mhm.
Um, where you are inviting, you're creating the space and you're
Mhm.
intentionally slowing down. And the idea with this first part of the retrograde is what do I really need to know? What haven't I processed?
Ah.
What haven't I allowed fully to experience because I was moving too fast?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that's just a little bit about this retrograde. The other piece I want to finish with is the fact that we're going to talk about all three of here's one, the review. Two is we plant the seeds for the new cycle. Three is I'm getting information from the dream time to help me in the new cycle.
Mhm.
And this is usually the part we get messed up with because we want to go. The new
Oh,
cycle has started. We want to go, but it's not time to go yet. And that's usually the piece that and that will end the retrograde on April 25th.
okay.
Um, but the other just tiny thing I want to mention is this retrograde is happening in Aries. And within all of us, no matter where our planets are, no matter what our chart looks like, we all have Aries energy. And the
Mhm.
question is, where is it unhealthy, really? Aries energy likes to go, it likes to move, it likes things to happen, and it's really interested in my own agenda.
Uh,
And it doesn't make it bad energy. Healthy Aries energy knows where to initiate. It just is aware that it's initiating on behalf of the whole. So
mm,
the agenda of Aries when it's healthy is congruent with the agenda of service to the whole.
mm,
Okay, but here we're really being called to review this kind of Aries where it might not be healthy.
Huh. So just like the masculine and feminine, we all have aspects of all planets in our chart,
It also,
correct? All signs, all planets. So it applies
so
to all of us, just it's parts, different pieces, and how it's showing up
yes,
in your life.
the planets are the energy. The sign is the way that the energy manifests.
Mm,
Mercury is mental energy. Aries says, I want to have all the thoughts. I want to do all the things. I want it all now. I want to
uh,
initiate. I want to have a thought and I want to go with it.
and so then we're fighting that energy of Mercury slowing down. And so it sounds like it can be a really confusing time.
It
Me-
can be a frustrating time
Mm,
because of that. But wait, I want to do this, but oh, I can't.
mm,
Or you just feel like it's just not time. Sometimes it's not I can't. It's just it's not time.
yeah, that's
So
hard. You have the roadmap, and sometimes you're just a little early. Yeah, yeah. So, eh, are we ready to move into the self-care piece? All right. All right. So, there's this tension that exists, and it is in your head, but it's real. And so there's two components to this and how we're going to take care of ourselves. We have our mental mind and we have the chatter, and then we have our physical body. And to balance those, my suggestions are twofold. One, for the mental space and to get your direction, I'm going to give you some journal prompts. So sit at home, relax, take about 10 to 15 minutes to just be with yourself and be with your thoughts and get your journal and answer. These are my suggestions to answer some of these questions, or at least give them some thought. Is where in my life do I like to move fast? We all have places in our life that we are just go, 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 go. I want this now. Identify it. And also, where do I naturally feel adrenaline in my life? That is energy activation, that is movement. So, this is giving you a scope of where in your life these energies are affecting you. And because Aries, I'm sorry, Aries, I love you, but it has kind of a self centered energy to it. To use the word narcissist, we all have narcissism. We are all narcissists. We all want the best for ourselves, but it's how do we do what's best for ourselves while also caring and seeing the big picture. So you don't have to have an answer for that one. It's a pretty heady concept, but just sit with it. Where am I being self-centered? Where is it that I may be not considering other aspects as I'm moving through this transit? So those are your journal prompts. And I specialize in somatics. I have a dance background, a yoga background. I see Emiliana for acupuncture to help me align the spirit with the body. And so we are going to want to move, but we're going to be feeling that frustration of not being able to move. And so my advice to you is move your body. And I don't have a specific workout. I don't have a do this, do that. What feels right to you? What, again, gets your adrenaline pumping? Maybe it's dance. Maybe it's hiking. Maybe it's spinning on a spin bike. And literally, you're not going anywhere. When you're hiking, you are just out in the woods, but you feel like you're moving. So your mind and your body understands we are moving. And also,
Oh, can I say just one more
yes,
thing, Steph?
yes.
That also activates our non-logical mind that's already active.
Hmm.
You're moving your body. This is when you can get insights. This is when you're going to get, this is the time for ahas. This is the, oh, I felt so bad when blah, blah, blah happened back in February, but I just didn't have the time to feel that.
Hmm.
So what you're doing when you're moving your body is you're not just letting out the frustration of whatever it might be, but you're also allowing that space for the awareness that's coming through at this point.
Yep. And you're moving through it. When I do have a lot of those revelations as I'm doing yoga, as I'm doing dance, as I'm spinning, and I tell myself I see it, I acknowledge it, I feel it, and I am moving through it. I am taking the power to continue to move. So move your body. Some other do's and don'ts is watch your words. Do watch your words and don't be impulsive with what you say. Really take the time to think and process through what you're feeling on the inside. And then when you feel fully prepared, then you can speak. But also, I like to say no communication is communication. And so sometimes you don't need to answer that text from your ex. You don't need to, because they're going through this process just like you are. But you have the power of the awareness. Thanks to this lovely video and thanks to Emiliana.
You.
And
But you know, you said something there again. This is usually with Mercury retrograde. Sometimes, well, I shouldn't say usually, sometimes exes do come in back. And why? Because we're reviewing the past. So maybe it doesn't have to be physically, but just mentally, because why? Because there was something not processed.
Mhm.
That's why they're coming back. It's not like, oh my gosh, them again. Well, wait a minute. You know, what is it that I haven't really felt?
Yep. We can learn something from every connection that we have. Doesn't mean it needs to stay, that person, but the lesson needs to stay, the learning.
Yes. And the fact that it's Aries, it might be a sexual connection, a past sexual connection, because Aries is one of the signs that relates to Mars and is very sexual. So that might be another thing about maybe feeling more deeply into honoring your own sexuality during this time from April 1st to April 25th, reviewing areas of sexual tension or areas of sexual bliss. Doesn't have to be bad. It just means it's up for review.
Yep. 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 And maybe you take ownership of actions or inactions that you took. And regardless, this is a time for lessons. This isn't a time for shame. When we use the word sex, a lot of times there is shame attached to it. And I want to invite you to release that and to fully embody your whole entire sexual being. Because there's nothing to be ashamed of. This is about
However it shows up for you.
yeah. Yeah.
That's day one.
Ooh, here we go. All right. April 1st. Good luck. And remember, if this message found you, it's for you. These teachings are timeless. Just happens to be April 1st through the 25th of 2024. But if you're watching this outside of that timeline, it still applies. And we're happy you're here.
Sending you love and support.
Gosh, now it's going to take me forever to find the stop recording. There we go.